Okay, so Neil and Annie, okay? The cheapest money you could buy is life insurance, right? Why? Because it's where you're paying the company to take a risk. Well, there's one thing that's guaranteed. There's not two. Now, people always say there's two things guaranteed: death and taxes, right?
Yeah.
Taxes, you don't have to pay taxes. You don't have to. You got to go to jail, but you don't have to. But everybody has to die. Wouldn't you agree? Okay, so since we know that everybody is going to die, every creature, an ant, the biggest lion in the jungle, everybody's eventually going to die. Okay, so what we do with our company, we show you how to benefit the next generation through a legacy plan, since we know what's going to happen anyways, and we transfer that to the next generation. That's how the Kennedys, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Rothschilds, all the wealthy billionaires, is through a transfer of wealth to the next generation. That's why Paris Hilton doesn't have to work. Because Conrad Hilton not only left her a business, but he also left her and her family members, her dad and mom, an estate of life insurance. Okay, so let me show you how to take a poor family and turn them into a billionaire family in 2 generations, 3 at the most. Okay, what I did for myself, okay, I have $3 million insurance on me. Not if I die, but when I die, my beneficiary gets $3 million. I only pay $441 a month for that. Times 12 is $5,200 a year. Now I have a 35-year level term. My dad died at 72, my mother died at 75. So I'm being honest with my wife and kids. I'm not gonna play games, I'm gonna live forever. I'm gonna base my insurance on those ages. Okay, so actually speaking, I bought it at 40, this will take me to age 75. In the next 35 years, I'm going to pay my insurance company $185,000 in premiums. Not if I die, but when I die, they give my wife and kids $3 million. So I paid $185,000 for $3 million. And this check has to come because it's term insurance. You can't borrow against it. There's no gimmicks. There's no interest on it. It's straight insurance. Okay? As long as I keep paying the premium. So I've told my wife, if we ever fall on hard times, you cancel everything, but don't you cancel life insurance. Give back the cars, cancel cable TV, cancel cell phones, sell the house, and go back to the bank, but don't you ever let this go. Because this is a guaranteed check Primerica going to pay our kids. Okay? Now watch this. I have 2 children. So when I pass away, $3 million is given to the Carnegie estate. Okay? The estate in the living trust states that the $3 million, my children are going to take it and they're going to draw interest on it. If it averages $3 million, if it averages 5%, not 10, it's going to pay them $150,000 a year in interest income. They're to take that $150,000 a year, son and daughter, and buy a $10 million policy on Gary, and my daughter buys a $10 million on her. Okay, I'm 30 years older than Gary, coincidentally. So if I die at 70, Gary's going to be 30. Okay, I'm 40 when I die.
Okay.
So he buys a policy, 10 million, 10 million, but he's not paying for it. My dividend check is paying for it. Their insurance is free. See how that works? And then when they pass away, as soon as they have 2 kids, they inherit 20 million in the Carnegie estate. And then the interest from that, 20 million at 5%, pays 10% of 22 million is 200,000. It pays $100,000 a year. With 20 million pays $2 million a year. So they pay $1 million a year is what they're going to get at 5%. $1 million a year. That's $83,000 a month. Then my grandkids take out a $30 million policy on dad. Same thing, $30 million. And before 3 generations deep, my children are strictly living on strictly interest income. And I created that with $441.
Amazing.
But you have to buy term insurance. You can't buy whole life because whole life is 3 times the amount.
Right.
You want to buy term, it's inexpensive, low cost, high value. See how that works?
Yep.
This is what the insurance companies don't want you to know, including Primerica Life. Because they don't want to pay, they don't want to take the risk. But once I realize everybody's going to die, why would I not buy insurance?
Right.
How selfish of you to not buy life insurance on you right now.
Exactly.
You tell me you love your daughter, right? You have this beautiful home, these nice cars. You give her a great life. I saw her bike outside. She has everything she wants. But that's only if you're alive. How selfish of you. you're not setting her up. You're actually setting her up for failure because she's going to lose all of that. And psychologically, she ain't going to know how to process being broke because you were alive and you didn't leave anything.
Wow, that's deep, Gary.
So you're making your daughter vulnerable. Whereas with my children, I teach transfer of wealth. Now listen, had I known this before I got in Primerica, and I learned this years later, I would have insured my mother and my father for $1 million each. And I would have paid it. They wouldn't have to pay nothing. I'd have paid that before I paid my car note. Because guess what happened? They both actually died. And guess what would happen? I have $1 million, $1 million, I have $2 million. I would have $2 million right now that me and my brothers could use that premium, that money, interest, and pay for insurance for all 4 of us. And then 10 years, 30, 40, 50 years when we die, that money goes next generation. And that's how you create the Kennedys and Rockefellers. You don't do it by stocks and bonds and mutual funds. The market just dumped out. You lost everything you own. If you're 65 years old, yesterday was a bad day for you. You don't have another 10 years to live for compound interest and the rule of 72 to kick in. So you asked me earlier, why don't you promote investments? I don't promote investments because I don't want my grandmother calling me tomorrow and going, hey, how's that variable annuity you put me in? How's that? Am I okay, son?